Lastly, UFC 331 or 2 in Los Angeles. UFC 331 got a main event and a co-main event yesterday. We were all expecting Arman Tsarukyan. If I'm being honest, guys, Arman Tsarukyan told me in Abu Dhabi it was going to be him and Oliveira. No BMF title. It was going to be him and Oliveira fighting in Los Angeles. And Arman just told me he just wants to continue to fight to essentially make himself undeniable because he wants a title opportunity. Yesterday we got that he's fighting.
Because I'm a fighter, first of all. I want to fight as much as possible. But, you know, like, I couldn't fight for that title. I was waiting for my shot. And instead of sitting at the home, I was wrestling, you know, and doing streaming and training. So it gives me a lot of, like, fan base. Thank you, guys. And finally, I'm fighting. And I'm so excited for my next fight. And can't wait. I mean, he can think whatever he wants. He's going to do his job. I'm going to do my job. But
very happy to be here. I just want to say one thing. I go into the octagon to knock people out. That's what I like to do. When I don't knock people out, I don't even sleep well at home. It's unfinished business if I win by decision. So I go into the octagon to do one thing, to knock my opponent out. And that's what I'm going to do. I'm pretty confident in the things that I can bring. When I go into the octagon, I know what I want to do. But it's a new sport for me as well. I learn every day. I get better every day. And I think...
Inside the gym, the atmosphere is intense. Arman Tsarukyan isn't simply preparing to win, he's preparing to silence every doubt surrounding his career and prove that he belongs at the top of the lightweight division. His training camp has been designed specifically for Mauricio Ruffy's dangerous and unpredictable striking.
Arman Tsarukyan is finally returning. Okay, he's taking on Mauricio Ruffy, right? Arman Tsarukyan, we last saw him, what was it? October, November, taking on Dan Hooker, made short work of him, but since then, he's been absent. It's been almost a bloody year. Yes, he's the master of the side quest. Yeah, he's out there wrestling at RAF, he's doing all kinds of shit.
Tsarukyan running Faber off the mat.
He's staying busy. He's certainly staying in the public eye with the help of Nina Drama, flying all over the world in his private jet, doing podcasts, just doing appearances.
That's what I see happening, but, you know, it's a fight. Anything can happen. I'm not betting the house, guys.
The way BSD beat Ruffy, like, Arman's going to be able to get him down and do the same thing. I think.
But Ruffy has been...
Styles make fights, though.
He did change up his old training camp. He left the fighting nerds.
That's true.
Australia has been training with Volkanovski. And Volk, I had spoke to him about it. He said when he first came, he was hard to take down, but once he was down on the ground, it was easy to keep him there. He goes, now he's really hard to hold down. So he's definitely making changes, you know, and making some...
Arman has brought in sparring partners who can recreate Ruffy's style, forcing him to sharpen his entries, close the distance, and avoid giving the Brazilian opportunities to land clean shots. But the focus isn't only on getting the fight to the ground. Tsarukyan has been putting extra emphasis on takedown chains, scrambles, positional control, and submissions.
Swing at it, apparently fourth time is a charm. Arman Tsarukyan will be taking on Ruffy. Now, I love it. I gotta tell you, I had some problems with the Charles match. I had some problems just because I've seen those guys fight. I've seen them before, and then there was talk that there was going to be no BMF. They're going to move to 5 rounds. Like, we were very close with some of the information that we had. And we got the 5 rounds down, for example. It does appear to be a true #1 contenders match, but this is a very big deal that Arman and Ruffy are now off.
He spends a lot of time in LA. There's a huge Armenian population in LA. It's a no-brainer. I think a lot of people thought it was going to be Arman versus Justin. Not going to happen. Too quick of a turnaround for Justin. All right, Arman versus Charles BMF. Not going to happen. It's Arman Tsarukyan against Mauricio Ruffy in a fight no one saw coming. I'm happy Arman's fighting. I'm happy he's staying active. The wrestling thing is great, but, like, all right, we got to get back to MMA. Ruffy's ranked 7th. I'm told, Arman was told by the UFC brass, he wins this fight, he's getting a title shot.
The goal is simple: take away Ruffy's biggest weapon and force him into a fight where Arman's wrestling can take over. For Tsarukyan, this isn't just another fight. It's an opportunity to remind everyone why he believes he deserves a UFC lightweight title shot.
Tsarukyan has been asking for a title fight, so what does he need to do against Ruffy to show Dana White that he actually deserves it?
I think he just needs to win cleanly, and have no outside the cage issues, which has been a large part of why he got into Dana White's doghouse. It wasn't just pulling out of a UFC 311 title shot and a rematch against Islam Makhachev in January of last year due to a back injury suffered the day before the fight while cutting weight. It's been the skirmishes and the issues he's had outside of the cage.
Absolutely run roughshod over poor Mauricio Ruffy. Like, this fight is not even going to be competitive for a moment. Arman's just going to run his ass over. So, like, to me, I'm just like, okay, Arman pretty much, unless he slips on a banana peel and gets caught, he is going to fight for the lightweight title next. And if he doesn't, then I'm going to lose my freaking mind. The other part was like, oh, everyone was reporting it was Charles Oliveira. Mm-hmm. And from what I understand, Charles was the name that was kind of on the list, but the reports that were out there were saying, like, this is signed, sealed, and delivered. It's a done deal. I'm here to tell you.
Arman has made it clear that he wants to stay active. While waiting for his opportunity, he continued wrestling, training, competing, and building his profile outside the octagon. Now that he's finally booked for another UFC fight, he's eager to return and prove himself once again. And Tsarukyan believes he has far more ways to win than his opponent. He can wrestle, he can submit, he can control the pace, and he believes he has the striking power to finish the fight on the feet as well. Ruffy, however, has a completely different mindset. The Brazilian has repeatedly made one thing clear: he wants the knockout. For Ruffy, going to the judges isn't the goal. He wants to step into the octagon, find the opening, and put his opponent to sleep. He has tremendous confidence in his striking and believes his power can create problems even for an elite wrestler like Tsarukyan. That creates one of the most fascinating stylistic matchups on the UFC 331 card. On one side, you have Tsarukyan's elite wrestling, grappling, pressure, and experience. On the other, you have Ruffy's explosive striking and finishing ability. If Arman can consistently secure takedowns and keep Ruffy on the ground, he could control the fight from start to finish. But every time the fight returns to the feet, Ruffy has the kind of power that can completely change the outcome in seconds. Tsarukyan has been waiting for another major opportunity, and his return to action comes with enormous expectations. The UFC initially had other plans for the matchup, with many expecting Arman to face Charles Oliveira in Los Angeles. But those plans changed, and Mauricio Ruffy emerged as the new opponent. That decision immediately created a wave of discussion across the MMA world. Some analysts believe Tsarukyan is simply too well-rounded for Ruffy. They point toward his wrestling and expect him to repeatedly take the fight to the mat, control the Brazilian, and eventually find a submission or ground-and-pound finish. Others aren't dismissing Ruffy so quickly. Ruffy has been working to improve his defensive wrestling and ground game. His training has included work with elite fighters, and the goal has been to become much harder to control once the fight hits the mat. That could make this matchup much more competitive than some people expect. Still, many analysts believe Tsarukyan has the clearest path to victory. If he can avoid Ruffy's power early, get inside, and establish his wrestling, Arman could spend long stretches of the fight controlling where the action takes place. And the stakes are enormous. Tsarukyan has been asking for a title opportunity, and a dominant victory over a dangerous ranked opponent could strengthen his argument. Winning isn't necessarily enough. He needs to look convincing. A clean, dominant performance could send a clear message to Dana White and the rest of the lightweight division. Arman Tsarukyan is ready for another title opportunity. There is also the hometown factor. UFC 331 takes place in Los Angeles, where there is a huge Armenian community. Tsarukyan is expected to receive significant support from the crowd, giving him another emotional advantage heading into the fight. But Ruffy isn't coming to Los Angeles simply to play the role of an underdog. He has confidence in his abilities, and his knockout power means Tsarukyan cannot afford to make careless mistakes. One perfectly timed strike could change everything. That's what makes this fight so intriguing. Tsarukyan wants to drag Ruffy into deep waters, use his wrestling, control the exchanges, and potentially finish the fight on the ground. Ruffy wants to keep the fight standing, create chaos, and land the shot that ends everything. The matchup also carries implications for the lightweight title picture. If Tsarukyan wins, especially in dominant fashion, the conversation surrounding his next fight becomes very interesting. He could find himself right back in the middle of the title picture, and that's exactly what Arman wants. He has already shown that he's willing to accept difficult fights instead of waiting on the perfect opportunity. Taking on Ruffy may not have the same name value as a rematch with Charles Oliveira, but it gives Tsarukyan another chance to prove that he belongs among the elite. The first Oliveira fight was highly competitive, which is one reason fans were excited about the possibility of seeing them fight again. But circumstances have changed, and now Tsarukyan has a different challenge in front of him. Ruffy represents danger. He is explosive, aggressive, and capable of producing spectacular finishes. Tsarukyan represents control. His wrestling can completely change the rhythm of a fight, forcing opponents to defend takedowns instead of freely throwing their best strikes. So the question heading into UFC 331 is simple. Can Mauricio Ruffy keep the the fight standing long enough to unleash his knockout power? Or will Arman Tsarukyan impose his wrestling and prove that he's ready for another shot at UFC gold? One thing is certain, this is more than just another lightweight matchup. For Tsarukyan, it's a chance to make himself impossible to ignore. For Ruffy, it's an opportunity to shock the division and announce himself as a legitimate threat. The expectations may be heavily tilted toward Tsarukyan, but fights aren't won by predictions, they are won inside the octagon. And when UFC 331 arrives in Los Angeles, one man will have the chance to prove everyone right or completely change the story.